Hello and welcome to our webinar, Your Business Without You. My name's Kevin Harrington. I'm from Exit-Facto in the UK. This session has come about from a face-to-face event we hosted recently. A number of people were not able to attend for geographic or calendar issues. So here we are today online. The presentation will last for about 30 minutes, which will give us time for questions afterwards. During the presentation, please add your questions to the Q&A section if you have joined us on Teams or through the chat if you're with us on a different platform. Let's get started. I'll be back with you for the Q&A later. Let me hand over to my business partner, Daryl Bates-Brownsword. Daryl.
Hi, Kevin. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us this morning. I'm Daryl, and what we'd like to do today is take you through this presentation, this sharing of just how you as a business owner can prepare your business to run without you. We'll go through why you want to do that, what are the advantages. We're going to go for about 30 minutes. Really appreciate your questions. If you can put your questions in the chat, as Kevin mentioned, and I'll do I'll answer all those questions at the end. Great. Let's get stuck into it, shall we? A little slow behind the 8 ball today. So look, what is it that we're trying to do? So business owners are building their business throughout their life. They're building their business, they're generating a revenue, they're employing people, they're making a profit, they're making some savings, and at the same time, they're aware that they're building an asset. The business, they know that business can be sold, and sometimes that at some point, they want to move on to the next chapter in their life. And that it doesn't matter what that next chapter looks like. Often it's retirement, often it's moving on to something else and making the most from their life's work. The thing is, no one's sharing with business owners, no one's sharing the message that, hey, you actually need to prepare your business to be actually sellable. And I'll touch on this point later. Being sellable and actually selling your business is kind of almost two different things. But we need to look at the business as an asset through a buyer's lens, because buyers are the ones who are taking the risk or seeing the risk and buying your business from you. They don't care what you think the business is worth. They don't care what you feel the business owes you. They don't care about your sweat equity that you've invested into the business over many years. They're buying a revenue stream, an income stream, or even a profit stream. And the valuation of your business is purely determined by the likelihood of that revenue. What are the chances of that business continuing without you? So what do? How do we summarize that? We at Exit-Facto will make sure, we'll work with business owners to make sure that your business is exit ready when you're ready to exit, and those two are important, and with the numbers that are going to work for you, whatever that can mean. And what will that give you? Wealth, freedom, and options. You want to be on the front foot so that if you do get even an unplanned exit, in a positive or a negative sense, if someone comes and approaches you to make an offer on your business, you want to be on the front foot so that you're not being pushed around by experienced buyers who are doing this every single day. So you want more money, more time, and less stress while you're waiting to exit your business. So let's just set the scene a bit of the background of what's going on in the business in the business world, the SME business world, specifically in the UK at the moment. Unfortunately, of all those businesses, that marketplace that we just talked about, 80% when they go to exit their business or try to exit their business in the terms of a sale or even handing over to their family or an MBO or what have you, 80% are failing to get a deal. Now, to me, that's the biggest tragedy after building and developing your business and running your business for so many years, that you've felt you've been building an asset to top up your pension is not going to work. So we need to work with those business owners to make your business sellable and attractive to be acquired. We keep hearing about this, this transfer of businesses from the baby boomer generation. It's kind of what's happened to that, the transfer of baby boomer businesses. It's not happening as we expected. Some people are staying on to that. I was talking to a business owner just earlier this week. He's 79 and has no intention of leaving his business. He's got his sons working in the business, and they still haven't got full control, and they're in their 50s and also thinking about their next transfer. So some big issues there with baby boomers, and also the next generation aren't wanting to acquire the businesses because they're just going, well, I'll build it myself, or I don't want to be locked in. So we've got all of these assets sitting around, which means that the marketplace is even more competitive. And unfortunately, there's a lot of businesses that are just, they're not getting deals, so they're having to be dissolved. So 727,000 of those in 2025. So if you're a business owner, particularly at the smaller end, when we say smaller end, we work with businesses from 1 million in revenue and up. So 1 million to 30 mil is kind of our bracket. And these stats are dealing a lot with the lower end and even some of the smaller end of those. But where we do our best work is kind of that 1 to 10 million revenue bracket, getting you through those stepping stones and those growing pains and growth spurts. And we'll touch on those a bit later as well. So here's the agenda we want to go through today. We've just started to discuss, and I'll go into that in a little more detail, the problem that we're solving here at Exit-Facto. We'll share a couple of ideas on how those problems can be fixed, or what are the structural elements of why those problems are there. We'll talk about the Exit-Facto program, how Exit-Facto address those issues and those problems, and we'll even give you an option on what to do now. And if you're curious and want to learn a bit more before you invest, if you learn a bit more about us and a bit more about the problems we've been discussing today, we'll give you a solution there that'll provide you with a bit more information. So that's it. That's the core problem is as we discussed. Business owners arrive at the point and no one's telling them that they need to prepare their business specifically to be exit ready. No one's telling business owners what you need to do to shape your business so that it's attractive to be acquired. We're thinking as business owners that we're running around that, excuse me, that if we keep increasing the revenue, that our business is a better business and it will be attractive to be acquired. And then as we evolve our business to the point, maybe 1 or 2 million revenue, we start to get a bit more sophisticated and mature in the financial function of our business. And we might bring in a fractional CFO or a higher skilled finance person within our business. And they'll go, hey, look, we need to evolve our thinking from revenue to we need to be tracking profit. We need to be looking at profit year in, year out and cash flow because that's better control of the business. What we're saying is if you want to start thinking about your business from an exit perspective, you need to evolve that one step again and evolve from that profit, monitoring the profit year in, year out, to start tracking your valuation. What's my valuation? How do I track my valuation? Because that's a combination of the profit and some intangible assets in your business that will influence the multiplier of that profit, which reduces risk from a buyer's perspective. So if you want to get the most from your life's work, you want to maximize the valuation of your business and you want to be on the front foot and exit on your terms, then you need to prepare your business to be attractive. Right, let's start to play. What are the top reasons that business owners do end up selling? Because surprisingly, the statistics are that it's not always you're on your terms. It's often reactionary. So it's sometimes we get business owners go, look, I've just had enough. I was talking to another one business owner this week. He just said, I'm 59, I'm tired, I don't have the same energy I had, I'm working too many hours a week, it's making good gross profit, but the net profit's not so great. I just don't have the energy. I've built all the foundations, it's great functions here for someone to come in and buy it. And I've gone, buyers, they're not looking to buy promise, they're looking to buy facts. They want to know, they want to buy the results of your business, not your aspiration and your dreams. So if we want to sell our business and we want to transfer it on, it's got to be attractive. We've got to reduce the risk for the next owners. Yeah, and then there's also the classic, the death, divorce, your disability, as we get older, as people, fundamentally the risks are greater to our health. So all these things add up. So you've got to prepare the business so specifically for an unplanned exit, and an unplanned exit could be for health or unfortunate reasons. But an unplanned exit is also when someone comes and approaches you and you haven't even got your business on the market. You want to make sure that when they look at your business, they look under the covers, so to speak, that they're going to see something that they really like. So the big problem is that 8 out of 10 businesses fail to get a result. And that's the problem that we're solving here at Exit-Facto. To me, it's just a tragic, we need to fix it for how many thousands of business owners are out there who are thinking they're going to get a result and then it just doesn't turn out as they'd hope. And the reasons are that it's unattractive, it's just too risky for the buyer. We've mentioned that. Why is it too risky? Well, often it means the owners are too involved in the operational side of the business. There's lack of reporting and understanding of how the business is running and controls on the business and visibility and predictability and some even say boringness. So we need to improve the cash flow. Governance and controls are often low and the performance is just unsustainable, or like this one I was talking to earlier in the week, they just plateaued. They had the same revenue for the last 4 years because the owner was just tired and drained, and he said, I know what needs to be done, I just don't have the investment to do it. Well, buyers buy performance, not our ideas and what we think it needs. So let's have a look and go, okay, so what are the reasons that the businesses are owner dependent and they're high risky? And it's often because people in the business, they don't have any systemized structure. The way they do things is everyone's taking instruction from the owner. The owner is required to be involved in every single decision in the business, because what they've tried to do is replicate a corporate structure, a corporate organizational chart on the business. And organizational charts are great for corporates with hundreds and thousands of people, but they're just not the right model to structure and build a growing, scaling structure for an SME where there's fewer people than there are functions. So we need to build a structure and understand how the structure works. So first thing is, let's have a look at this business and let's go, what are the 3 main areas? Because what happens is that when we think of our business as from an owner's perspective, we bundle the 3 main areas together. And the 3 main areas of benefit to owning a business is A, you're an owner, B, you're typically a director as well, and C, the third one is you're often an employee in the business as well. And we tend to bundle those together and we don't separate the roles and responsibilities of those 3 areas. So we'll go through those. The first area is the main operational. Let's call this the primary workflow. How do I run my business day to day from leads coming in through to client engagement? The second area is this green area, and we've color-coded it on purpose just to make it nice and easy and simple. The second area is your vision, your energy as the entrepreneur, the founder of the business. Why did you start the business? What inspired you to go, hey, I think I need to start a business? And it's all about the purpose. What's the problem you're solving in the marketplace? What does this business look like? What did you have in mind when you thought that you'd start a business, what it would look like? And the culture, how did you intend to run it? What's the style of leadership and behavior and how the business is run? Now, the third side of this triangle, this structures model, is the black side. This is where the strategy comes into play. This is the role of the directors. Now, their job is to take the vision and the big picture of the owners and turn it into strategy. Now, strategy doesn't have to be complex. Strategy, I think, is really simple, and it just goes, let me get the information of the problem that we're solving, and let me identify and specify what's the product. And the product can be the solution to that problem that you're solving. Do you have any IP, intellectual property, or proprietary methodology for solving that problem to demonstrate that you do it consistently and you got some specific around your business for solving the problem that you've identified in the marketplace? So get all of your understanding around that, and there's your product strategy. Next is positioning. What's different about your business? Why should customers come to you? And we're not talking about we've got great people, we do a great job, we're really reliable, we look after you. We need to understand, what's specific around what makes your business, your solution different to every other in the marketplace. Next one is pricing. Pricing is, how do you charge to solve the problem? And the fourth one is channels. How do you reach the people with your problem? Now, when you've got a strategy on those 4 areas, they need to be all lined up so that everything feels like it naturally fits together. And they're the 3 sides of the triangle. They're the 3 areas that you need to work on separately, and where you're different. They're the different hats that we often talk about. So the green, and then we've got how do I keep it all going and keeping it smoothly? Well, then I've got this red area, and this red area is where I do have all my monitoring systems. I keep my finger on the pulse, and it's all my back office support. So they are, the red and the blue are employees. And we'll start with the green. The green are the shareholders. They're the owners of the business. We've got the black are the directors. The blue and the red are employees. And once we start mapping out our structure using this model, we can then have a really easy conversation about, I'm doing a green day today, and I don't spend much time in the green. I probably only spend half a day, a month in the black, and depending on the stage of development, the evolution of my business, spending my time in the blue. Hopefully as an owner, I'm not spending any time in the red other than monitoring. I'm not preparing the reports, but I'm viewing and analyzing the reports. And as my business grows, those areas, the number of areas do not change. What changes is the amount of time spent in each area. And there you have it. You've now got a functional structure for your business as opposed to an organizational chart. And we can unfold those and turn it into a chart, but it's based on the functions and the headings that you see here. And you can have a number of people, or each people can be having multiple functions that they're assigned to, as opposed to an organizational chart, which is a bit haphazard as we make up and just add people because things are missing on an organizational chart in a small business, and that's how things slip through the cracks. So that's all I wanted to cover in terms of today's presentation, today's sharing with you on structures and how to structure an SME. Let's now move on to, we're talking about exit and where we get exits, why we get confused, why business owners get stuck when we start talking about exit. If you talk to corporate finance people, the technical people out there, they'll tell you there's at least 8 ways to exit, probably 10 or 12. But from your perspective as a business owner, these simply break down into 3 energetic categories. There's only really 3 energetic ways that you can exit your business. One is, do I just fade away? Fade away is where there's been a step change in my industry, and think Blockbuster video. There's no longer any video stores, so my business ceased to be relevant. So there's a number of ways that you can exit if you just liquidate or just cease to be relevant. You missed an industry trend, you grow tired, and you just shut the business down. Step down is the next energetic category. That's where you're going, I've taken this business as far as I want to. I'm really happy. I'm content in what I've done. I'm happy to be involved for a couple of years more, a few years more, and make sure that I really hand over the reins to the next generation, the next owners, and we look after our legacy, and everything happens as smoothly and as seamlessly as possible. And I'm happy to gradually step down and gradually step back from the business as we hand over controls. There are a number of solutions related to the energy of let me gradually step down. I think the third category is what we call step up. Now, step up is when we go, hey, look, we've built the business so far. We've had some great results. We're really proud of what we've built so far, but we've got some energy left. We want to have, let's just crank it up over the next few years. Let's see what we can do. What's our energy? Do we bring investors on? Do we bring other people involved? How do we do it? How do we really leverage this business up over the next few years? That's the step up category. So they're the 3 categories, and you can sense that it's an energetic perspective. It's how much energy do you have left? How stressed are you with the business at the moment? How time consuming? How much sleep are you missing? How much family life are you missing because the business is consuming you? So how much, that dictates where your energy is and what you want to do next. Now, I've just included a few of the examples that I've just captured 8 so far, 8 of the main ones. There's obviously more, but here's the specific exits that people are normally talking about. People are normally talking about, whether you do a PE, you do a trade sale, you IPO, you sell to competitors, you do an MBO. They talk about the specifics. They totally miss the fact that it's what energy you have to drive your exit strategy, because we said, the business needs to be exit ready when you're ready to exit. So both of those things need to be in balance. Like, if you don't know what you're going to do, if you don't know how to step out of the business and the business isn't ready to cope without you, then there's a mismatch there. And also the numbers need to work for you. The governance, the controls, you need to be able to step away, and the business needs to be able to carry on and provide you and fund you with your next phase of life. The next chapter, as it's sometimes called, needs to be a great solution for you. Right, so let's just explore these options in more detail and just understand how the energy comes about and impacts us over the years from startup to as we grow in the business. So most people talk about a growth journey and they have a nice little arc. I don't know if you can see my mouse, but I reckon it really grows as a staircase as you move through the various inflection points of the business. And the inflection points are quite reliably mapped according to something that we know as the 3 times rule. And that is, every time you triple in size of your business, you need to rebuild all of the platforms and infrastructure in your business. So, from 100 to 300 to 1 mil, to 3 mil, to 10 mil, to 30 mil. And each of those points is a period where the business is at a peak profitability phase. And everywhere in between those points is effectively no man's land, where I'm investing in the business, I'm investing in new platforms to get me to the new inflection point. And because I'm investing so much, there's periods of less profitability. So my business is effectively going through a cycle of growth spurts and growing pains. And that's why I've prepared it and represented it as a staircase here, because they're the growth spurts. I get big kicks, and then the growing pains when I'm reinvesting throughout my business. And depending on the age of your business will determine how many steps in your staircase of your business cycle and how long it's taken you. And that will determine what your energy like at this orange line here, which is the point of where you've made the decision of, you know what, I'm ready to hand the business on. Now, that handing of the business on is where the options come into play. Do I fade away? Do I step down? Or do I step up? So I just thought by representing it graphically might just have a little more impact on the story that I just shared a couple of minutes ago. So how do we solve this at Exit-Facto? Exit-Facto has gone, we understand this journey, we understand this energy, we understand how to introduce the structures model and help you build a systemized business that will help you take control and grow your business and feel that you've got more money, more time, and less stress, and possibly even fall back in love with your business. So the way we do that is that we go, well, let's start by doing a current state assessment. Let's understand what the value of your business is now. Let's understand all of the red flags around why a buyer will lower the valuation of your business, and all of the green flags around what they love, what you've already built in your business, and why the value would go up. So what are the things that are influencing your current valuation and the gaps? We then move on to optimize. Optimize is then the next phase where we'll go, okay, if you want to keep working with us, then let's have a look at the way a business is valued. It's a combination of a profit and a multiple. So there's two areas that you can influence the valuation. So let's start with the quick wins. We'll optimize it. We'll have a look at what best practice is for your industry and your size, and we'll improve the profitability. Make sure you're not overspending on any areas, you're over investing. Have a look at your costs and the way you run your business and your business models, and where are all the quick wins to optimize. Now, that's an area that a lot of people can work on. A lot of finance people focus in that area, and it's really worthwhile to increase your valuation. If you've got more time, we'll then start going, okay, so let's look at the record. Let's systemize and totally document your business so that it runs like a Swiss watch. How do buyers know what they're getting? And that will eliminate the owner dependence in your business. If you've got everyone knows exactly what they need to do, when they need to do it, how they need to do it, and there's monitoring in place to ensure that everything's done the same way, so that you have confidence to go, this is the way things are done around here, and they're being done that way. That'll give you a bit of time. Once you've put that in place, you'll have the headspace that you'll be able to go, hey, look, this is working. I'm getting some great results here. What else can be done? Now, that's when we start to go, well, how do we transform your business? How do we work on all of those intangible assets? How do we tweak that strategy in the black area that we are talking about earlier? And how do we build the intangible assets that will reduce the risk to the buyer and increase the multiple of your valuation? Now, these things take a bit of time because they need to be built, and you're working ahead of your business. As Gerber said in the E-Myth, you need to be working on your business at this stage, and these is where your intangible assets will be built. Focus on those, and you'll be working a year ahead of your business, because it takes about a year for the benefit of all of that work to start flowing through to your P&L. Now, that's why we say it takes 3 to 5 years. Ideal scenarios, you're working on this for 3 to 5 years, you'll really get to maximize the valuation and exit on your terms. So the fifth stage of our model, the methodology that we use to prepare you and get you in that position, is exit. How do I stage my business? How do I present it? I'm now in a position where I can present my business and show it to the marketplace and going, here's all the value of my business. Here's why you want to buy my business. And that means when you take it to a broker, an M&A consultant, a corporate finance person, it'll make their job a whole lot easier, because the quicker you can sell your business, the more likely you are you're going to get a good deal and terms that suit you. Exit on your terms. So that's why you want to go through these 5 stages, and there's the benefits of each one of those stages. Right, so that's the process we follow. The results, Kevin and I have been doing this sort of work in the UK for a few years. Exit-Facto has been going for a few years in the US, and they've been tracking the results. And these are the results that we've accumulated over time and measured. So you'll double your free time. Business owners often fall back in love with their business. They like it more. The valuation is been shown historically to increase by at least 50%. Net profit goes up, which is a direct influence on valuation. But the big one is the faster exit. And that's key to what you're looking for, especially at that period when you're ready to exit. You don't want to delay that. It works across all industries. People are always asking it, do you focus on specific industries? We're bringing management and strategy discipline to your business. Now, that applies to all industries. I think what's really important is when it comes time to actually complete the transfer, that sale of your business, that you find someone with experience and expertise and relationships and contacts in your industry. That's where it really makes a difference. Naturally, we've got some testimonials. We've got some kind words from people that we've worked with who have been very grateful for the difference that we've made. Sometimes we talk to people who've tried to take their business to market and been unsuccessful, and then they feel stuck. They've paid a whole lot of money marketing their business, and it just was not attractive to be acquired, and they weren't told that. That's unfortunate. We're not brokers. We're not going to try and sell your business. We've got relationship with people who can. All we focus on is making sure that your business is actually attractive to be acquired and giving you wealth, freedom, and options. So that brings us close to wrap up. What's the benefit of doing all of these things? Working, building a structure, eliminating owner dependence, building intangible assets. If you're a business owner, we can help you get your business exit ready when you're ready to exit and with the numbers that are going to work for you. Hope that makes sense. I look forward to any questions. But if any of this has captured your curiosity and you're saying, hey, I'd love to learn more about that. What are the options, the opportunity for me and my business? How do I make sure that when I want to get my business exit ready, I want to go, how do I do that and make sure that I get that exit on my terms and I get the most from my life's work? What I'd encourage you to do is take the business sellability scorecard. There's no charge. It's a free tool that we offer. We built this and it'll ask you about 40 questions. It'll take you about 4 or 5 minutes. So I know it's a little commitment, but the questions that you will be asked here will get you thinking about some of those intangible assets, all of those things that we've been talking about today. It'll just bring them to the front of your awareness, and you'll get a report specific to you about your business and what the valuation or what the current sellability is. So if you scan the QR code, that'll take you to our business sellability score. I hope you found this valuable. And Kevin, have we got any questions?
I've got loads. Okay, let me have a look. So we're running on a couple of platforms here, so I just need to make sure I can see all the questions. Okay, yeah, we've got a couple here. It's interesting actually looking at who's on this session today, because they are on different platforms, and I'm really pleased to see a couple of ex-colleagues, which is lovely, a couple of local people to Reading, which is good, quite a few people I've got no idea who they are, but there's, just to confirm, we will send out the slides to everyone after this as a reference point, and it has our contact details there as well. But I've got, I think, 3 questions here, and
okay,
the first one is from Elaine, who I know is in York, and she says, does the 80% of businesses that don't sell vary by industry? And she goes on to say, I am the owner of a marketing agency.
Great question. I'll be honest and go, I haven't looked at it that closely. The stats that I've looked at apply across the SME sector. So all of the privately held businesses and based by the records from Companies House of transfer of ownership or businesses being shut down, the stats roll out at 80%. Interestingly, those numbers are pretty similar worldwide across the SME owner managed sector. So hand on heart, I'm sorry, I don't have that numbers to you, Elaine, but I would suggest that marketing agencies definitely fall into that 80%.
Mm-hmm. Lovely. I'm going to take this question. It's from a chap actually I met yesterday at an event down in Portsmouth. It's from Lee in East Sussex, is where his business is. And his question, he phrases it as follows. I get that it might take a couple of years to tidy up the business to sell, but when that is done, typically how long does it take to put a business on the market and complete a sale? Almost there is no typical, Lee. And I think that does surprise people is that actually it does take a long time. When our work is complete with, on average, increased value by 56% or whatever, and made it attractive and de-risked it from a buyer's perspective, we've got colleagues that can do the brokerage, the M&A piece. And when we've talked to them, they're saying it's very unusual they ever sell a business in less than 6 months. And most often it's 9 to 12 months. That is getting the business, the information memorandum, and all the details online, and getting all the buyers matched up, because most good brokers already have buyers in certain sectors, lists of people that are looking. But the time that all the due diligence has gone through and all that sort of stuff, in round numbers, if you think of 9 months to 12 months, it's not something where you can go and stick your house on the market and it's so lovely. People go yippee and it's off the market and paperwork's being done in 3 weeks' time. It's not as quick as that. So hopefully that answers the question. But the point with our work is businesses sell quicker on average if they've been tidied up through the Exit-Facto process. I think there's only one more question here, unless anyone wants to rush in with any last ones. There's a question here from Arvind. I'm going to give this one to you, Daryl. He said, I haven't even started my business yet. How should I use the ideas you've been sharing?
Oh, wow. I'm going to encourage you, if you haven't even started your business yet, the first thing you want to do is prove your concept and prove that you can run a business. Prove to yourself that you can win work and you've got a product, a solution, a proposition that you take to market that the market wants. So, year one, you just need to be focusing on getting sales crudely. Now, that doesn't mean you don't have a vision and you've already built or documented. I'd encourage you to document the green side that we talked about. And that's talking about, hey, let me talk about the problem I'm solving in the marketplace. Let me figure out what my solution is to that problem and who I solve that problem for and why they want to use my solution as opposed to anyone else's. And then based on those 2 or 3 elements, you'll be able to build a pricing structure. Don't just go, depending on what your business is, don't just go for an hourly rate or unit or a cost plus. Make sure that your pricing formula, the way you price, feels like a natural fit to the way you show up to the market, the way your proposition interacts with the market. So you don't have to just do what everyone else is doing, especially if you want to stand out and be different. Then figure out what your channels to the marketplace are. Build a strategy. Don't just spray and pray on social media. Get very conscious around communicating the messaging around the proposition, what's different about you, and the solution that you provide and your IP. Talk about those things and how the IP is solving problems for the clients. And that's the channels. And then I've talked about pricing. So they're the 4 elements. So the green is identifying why you're in business and why you want to be in business and what you think it can look like and the problem you want to solve. The black is the strategy of that simple strategy formula, those 4 elements that I mentioned. And then once you've got those, in the first year, I'm not going to be too fussed about, hey, you need to be systemized and structured. You just need to be inspired by the green and the black and then just get out there and get some results and prove and convince yourself that it works. Then you want to think about systemizing and go, how does it all fit together? Hope that's helpful. Give you some guidance. Probably a bit different to what you get elsewhere, but that's how I do it.
Excellent. Thanks, Daryl. That wraps up with all the questions that I've picked up from chats and Q&A bits. So thank you everyone for joining us. As I said, you'll get a copy of the slides in PDF format coming through in the not too distant future. Kind of the calls to action, as Daryl said, is scan that QR code and take the business sellability score as a start point on your journey for preparing your business for exit. In the slides, when you get them, there'll be Daryl's contact details and be my contact details. And all our engagements with businesses and business owners start with a conversation. If you'd like to talk more about any of the things we've been covering today, give us a call. Our phone number's there. Email us. Our email addresses are there. And let's continue this conversation for the benefit of you and your business. Keep an eye on exitfactor.co.uk as well, and on our social media, on LinkedIn especially, to find out when our next events will be. And we look forward to talking with you and seeing you all again soon. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Kevin. Cheers.
Thanks, Daryl.